Before we begin, I'm just going to ask everyone to please silence all electronic devices. We have the proper decorum and dignity during the funeral, during the levaya. We're going to start with the parak of Tehillim, and I won't move the mic. Mizmar leDavid, Adonai Rawi lo echzar, Binos tesha yarbiteni amemenuchos yinaleini, Nafshi yishovev, Yancheni maglei tzedek leman shimo. Kam ki elek b'geitz amaves, lo yivara ki ata imodi. Shivtecha mishantecha hema yenachamuni, taroch lefanai shochan, neged tzoreroi. Dishant av Hashem en roshi kosi rivoya, ach tov v'chesed yidefuni kol yemei chayai, v'shabti veis Adonai liorech yamim. We gather together today to pay our final respects to Cynthia Uvlin, Zisel Bat Moshe, a truly beloved woman in the community, beloved member of the community, wife, mother, and of course grandmother as well. Here we are in the week of Pesach, and you see how many people came out. It shows how loved she was. And the first response to anyone who I mentioned, when I mentioned it in shul, on Shabbat morning, yesterday, even this morning, everyone had the same thing. Everyone said how much they loved her. But to really share some words of inspiration, of eulogy, we're going to ask the family members to really give the eulogy. So we're going to go in order of family, starting off with Risa.
Over the last few days, I have heard from so many members of our extended family, childhood friends, family friends, old neighbors, and many who just came in contact with my mother, Cynthia Uvlin, for a brief period of time. To sum up all their kind words and genuine condolence messages is easy. She was the consummate lady. She was friendly, compassionate, giving. She had great style and elegance. She always had a smile on her face and a nice word to say. She never judged and accepted people for who they were. She loved hard and was loved back with a force that sustained her during her years of illness. She was sick for a long time and suffered through so many horrible diagnoses, surgeries, recoveries, and setbacks. Never once, and I mean never, did I hear her complain about her lot in life. She persevered and held herself with grace and dignity up until her last breath. Her aides, Aldine and Pauline in Florida, who are like family to us, and her many wonderful companions in Cleveland took such great care of her. My loving father, my siblings, and I cared for and treated her with the love and respect that she so rightly deserved. She was a class act, a true woman of valor, an Eshes Chayil. My siblings and I are so fortunate to have grown up in a house where a true love story played itself out. The boy from the Bronx and the girl from Brooklyn met in the Poconos and started a Subway Series relationship. My mom and dad were each other's best friends, devoted, loyal, committed, and crazy about each other. My mom gave to my father just like my father gave to her. There was mutual respect. In my mom's final days, my dad didn't want to leave the house and stayed by her side, declaring his love over and over for his Zisela and telling her how beautiful she was. Dad, Mom heard you and left this earth knowing exactly how you felt about her. Not many people experience this, but you and Mom did for close to 60 years. That is truly a gift. My mom lived her life to the fullest. Her priorities were family, friends, community, and religion. She was a wonderful wife, mother, mother-in-law, daughter, daughter-in-law, sister, sister-in-law, and aunt. It could not have been easy for her to leave her entire family in New York and start anew in Cleveland. But she made friends easily and found her place here. She was a good and loyal friend, and those who had the chance to really get to know her were so lucky. She was a good listener and dispensed wise advice when asked. Growing up, I watched her help organize and chair many events and functions with friends for any organization that knocked on her door. I watched her sweet talk and charm people into donating so many items, learning a thing or two about the way the world works. People were just enamored of her. My mother made sure our home was always open to friends, family, and to those less fortunate. Our house was always bustling with kids, as she hosted B'nai Akiva and NCSY participants throughout our childhood. Her invitations to dinner or lunch on a Shabbos or Yom Tov were eagerly anticipated. She could set a mean table. Her Shavuot strawberry cheesecake was drool-worthy. Her chocolate chip cookies were a favorite. Her secret ingredient, which I can now divulge, Crisco. Her stuffed cabbage was legendary. It was such a hot commodity that when my husband and I were dating and we would have a fight, I used to threaten to take back the stuffed cabbage my mom made that was stored in his freezer. My mom was fortunate to watch her 12 granddaughters and grandsons, all of whom are here today to pay their respects and show their love, grow into caring and compassionate young adults. She also met her first great-grandchild last summer. She was so proud that all her grandkids received a Jewish day school education. She loved to play with the kids, walk them in their strollers, make them eggs or cottage cheese toast, take them to the movies, read to them, sing to them, and just be part of their lives. Ben, Josh, Zach, Johnny, Jessica, Meredith, Rebecca, Jordana, Rachel, Talia, William, Matthew, and Gabe. You come from good, strong stock. I want you to know how much you were loved by Grandma and how proud she was of all your accomplishments. You gave her great joy. Mom, I hope in this short time I was able to convey the essence of who you were, what was important to you, what fulfilled you, and made you happy. You had such inner beauty and strength, so much so that it overflowed onto others. I learned from you in life and in death. Not a day will go by that I won't think of you, and I pray that you will be whispering in my ear as I go through the rest of my life. I love you so much, and it is so difficult to say goodbye. I hope that you are now in peace, comfortable, surrounded by your loved ones who passed on before you, and soaring to the highest heights of heaven. God has a new angel.
Like to call up Eileen?
My dearest Mommy, I can't believe I'm standing here saying goodbye to you for the very last time. My heart is breaking because I loved you so much. You were my best friend, someone I could tell anything to and confide my hopes and dreams to. You always listened, gave good advice, but in the end, You always said to me to follow my heart and to do what is best for me. You were selfless and always thought of others. I want to reflect on the amazing mother that you were and how you raised and taught me to be a friend, sister, wife, mommy, and now a grandma. You and Daddy provided us with such a beautiful life, filled with so much love that stemmed from the tremendous love the two of you shared. It all started when you saw Daddy across the room and knew you wanted to talk to him. So you brought him a Coke, and the rest was history. Daddy fell in love with you immediately, and soon after, you were married. He saw how beautiful you were inside and out, and the kindness you exuded everywhere you went. You were outgoing, personable, and people couldn't help being drawn to you. Daddy always said to me, I love your mother more today than yesterday, and I will love her even more tomorrow than today. He said that all the time, Mommy. When Dan and I visited you and Daddy in February, Daddy recalled for us the story of how you and he decided to build a life and family in Cleveland. You were both from New York, and both had family and friends there. Daddy was working hard to build a life for you and Risa. Daddy came to you one day and said he had an opportunity to start a new business in Cleveland. He described the business to you and told you there were no guarantees, but that if he didn't go for it, he may always wonder if he missed out on something. Although it must have been tremendously difficult to contemplate taking such a big risk, Mommy, you believed in Daddy and told him in no uncertain terms that if he thought this was the right move, then you would stand by his side 100%. And you did stand by Daddy's side, and together you built a wonderful life for us in Cleveland. And in more recent years, we've seen Daddy stand by your side when you needed him most. Daddy wouldn't leave your side, and he found the best women to care for you, and they loved you like you were their mother too. Everyone loved you, Mommy, because you were the sweetest lady. You never complained or was angry when your body began to fail you. You only kept going to doctors to try and make your quality of life just a little better. You endured so much, and now I am going to tell you to rest. You did everything you needed to do in this life. You had a wonderful marriage, four wonderful children, 12 amazing grandchildren, and recently you got to meet your first great-grandchild. You set a wonderful example for us. You always did everything for all of us, and you always did it with a smile. I'll never forget the most delicious meals you cooked for us and how you always had dinner prepared when Daddy got home at 6 o'clock sharp. Those family dinners are so rare these days, but you made sure we had a home-cooked meal every night where we got to talk about our day at school and Daddy's day at the office. Yes, there may have been some of us kicking each other under the table, but you took care of everything. You always made friends wherever you went. As a little girl, I remember constantly tugging on your dress or jacket saying, "Let's go, Mommy, stop talking." But as I grew up, I realized that you were always the woman that everyone, even strangers, grew to love so quickly. You just loved meeting people. And the beautiful part about that is that you genuinely cared about everyone that surrounded you, even if you just met them. I sometimes couldn't believe how much love you had to offer and how much love I felt from you every day we spent together. When I left home to go to college in New York, I would call you every day because I missed you and just wanted to hear your beautiful voice. You always gave me words of encouragement and made me feel better when I was sad. I will cherish every moment and all the memories that we had together. I know that the pain I feel now will one day ease, and my tears will turn to happy tears when I think of you. You always told me to stay strong and everything will be okay. I am glad that we were able to spend some time together over the last few weeks. Although you couldn't talk much, the last words you said to me in your very weak and strained voice were, "I love you so much." I have realized more and more as time goes on how much like you I am. There have been so many times I've caught myself calling my girls and my kids in my first grade class Cookie Face. And it reminds me of you every time I say it because that's what you'd always call us. I only realized and appreciated all that you did for us when I became a mother. Now that I am a grandmother, I understand how much you adored all of your grandchildren, doting on them and beaming with pride at all of their accomplishments. I am now planning my third wedding, and I see how much time and effort it takes. When you planned my wedding, you planned every detail to perfection while I was in New York. I just showed up like a guest. I hope you knew how much I appreciated this and everything you have done for me. I know that you will be there with me, by my side, when Rebecca is under the chuppah. Thank you for giving us such a wonderful life, Mommy. I'll miss you every single day, but I know you've probably already made so many friends in heaven. I will never stop loving you, Mommy.
Marcy?
Mommy, it is so surreal to be standing here today in front of all your family, friends, and community, speaking of you in the past tense. It's a day that I dreaded for a really long time, but knew was approaching quickly. And while you are no longer physically in this world, we know you are already watching over us with your angel wings, smiling and thinking that I really need a haircut. From when I was a young girl, I knew I had hit the mommy jackpot. I love you were words that rolled off your tongue with such ease. We never questioned your love for us. You always made sure we were well taken care of, whether it was making us scrambled eggs in the mornings before school or having the pantry filled with our favorite after-school snacks of Little Debbie's and Funyuns. Dinner always consisted of a green salad with creamy Italian dressing and one of your specialty homemade meals. Oh, those homemade French fries that you couldn't make fast enough. We would all come running to the kitchen, hovering around you as you shook the Heinen's brown paper bag to drain the oil. Whether it was your delicious tuna noodle casserole, which is still a favorite in my house, or your lamb chops and the round sticks on the stick, or the steaks on the stick, you were always there to nurture us with your yummy food. When we were sick, we would creep into your room in the middle of the night, and right away you would ask what's wrong. We didn't need to speak a word, and you would jump out of bed and take us down to the kitchen, open the cabinet next to the green refrigerator, and take out that oh-so-dreaded Dimetapp medicine and Vicks Vapor Rub. You would sit with us until we fell back asleep. I remember thinking you had magical powers, because laying next to you in bed made us feel so safe. I was right. You were Superwoman. You rarely watched TV, but when Dynasty was on in the early 1980s, no one could tear you away from the Carrington clan and their oversized shoulder pads. Oh, how you loved to watch that show. That and Wheel of Fortune. You loved reading books. Every Friday night after the kitchen was cleaned and you made your official announcement that the kitchen was closed, you would sit at the table and read. I would then come in to bother you because I was bored and asked if you wanted to play backgammon. You always said yes, but you never let me win. You were always home for us as we walked through the door each evening, and never late to pick us up from school on the side of the Hebrew Academy parking lot. When that bell rang, we ran down the stairs, peeked over our left shoulder, and there you were. Never late. Ever. You were always someone we could count on to do what you promised you would do, and you never disappointed. You were the kindest human being to everyone you ever came in contact with. I remember you always bringing out cans of soda or water to the gardeners or any worker to ensure that they were comfortable in the heat. You always showed us through your actions that all humans are equal and deserve to be treated with respect. You were a kind soul and will forever be remembered for your beautiful heart, your warm smile that you offered to anyone who crossed paths with you. Mommy, I envied you. I envied you that you were smart enough to have picked the best man to have as a partner in life, a man that has devoted his life to our family. Daddy has proven to our entire family time and time again what commitment means and what true love looks like on a daily basis. When he was asked a few weeks ago in the hospital how long he's been married to you, his response, without hesitation, was not long enough. He would sing to you every day while holding your hand, patting your head, and calling you his beautiful Ziesel. He would tell you all the time that he loved you more today than he did yesterday. Oh, Mom, how beautiful a love story you were lucky to have. I always tell my girls to look for a man like Daddy when choosing a mate. And when Daddy hears me say that, he corrects me by saying that he was the lucky one to have met and married the most beautiful woman in the world. Just yesterday, sitting at the pool at your condo in Boca, Daddy was telling everyone who came to offer condolences that you were his bashert, the woman of his dreams. I was lucky enough to have you for 6 months out of the year in Boca. I look forward to our weekly visits where I could bring you my homemade food for you to enjoy. I looked forward to making Nice on Your Head and singing nursery rhymes with you where you would sing along with my out-of-tune voice. I know you were very tired, Mommy, towards the end. I read your eyes last week when you stared at me as if to say you're finally ready to rest. But you managed to mouth one last I love you to me that I will cherish till the day I take my last breath. I make a promise to you today, Mom, that Daddy will forever be well taken care of by all of us. You do not need to worry about him, so please sleep peacefully, my dear sweet Mommy, for all of eternity. You deserve it.
Mark?
I would like to read some words from a very close friend of my parents, their rabbi. He's not here with us today, but he wanted me to say these words from Rabbi Grandenstein. Today we mourn the passing of Cynthia Uvlin, Aleha Shalom, and it is with great regret that Malka and I cannot be physically present with the Uvlin family. It is striking that we are mourning Cynthia's passing on the week before Pesach, B'chodesh Ha'aviv. The month that begins springtime with the words Shir Hasharim Hanatzim Nir'u Be'eretz At Hazmor Hagia V'Kol Hator Nishma Be'atzenu. The flowers bloom in the earth, a time of song has arrived, and the call of the turtle dove is heard in our land. Cynthia embodied the energy and love we all experience with the rebirth of nature at springtime, and she brought that energy and love to her marriage with Al. He was the love of her life. She was the love of his. The profound mutual devotion of Al and Cynthia was there for all to see. During Cynthia's illness, Al became her loving nurse and helpmate at every point, never leaving her side. Their marriage represented everything that a Jewish marriage should be. Cynthia was the ideal mother, devoted utterly to each of her children, and a wonderful doting grandmother and great-grandmother. I had the privilege of being the Uvlin family's rabbi from the very beginning of my career in Cleveland in 1974. Cynthia was a loyal member of the Green Road Synagogue, and her social skills were manifested with many friends that surround her. She was loving and beloved, and her passing will be profoundly felt. Ohavet v'hava. During our last visit with Cynthia, when Malka and I were in Cleveland last October, we were both struck by her dignity and warmth that shone through as she greeted us. What a privilege we both felt to have enjoyed the friendship of Cynthia and Al through the years. What an honor to have been able to celebrate all the many life cycle events together with the Uvlin family. As we read in Ashes Heil, strength and dignity clothed her, and she laughs at the time to come. As we recall Cynthia's charm and dignity, her love, her joy, we pray, Yehi Zachra Baruch. Those were the words from Rabbi Granenstein. I didn't really sit and prepare words, so I'm just going to say from the bottom of my heart, Mom, how much we love you. We understand everything you've done for us, everything you've given to us. The boys and I are grateful that you were able to live just down the street and we were able to come visit you whenever we wanted. And we loved you very much and will remember you and think of you every single day.
The last few words, beloved husband of more than 58 years, Al.
So why didn't anyone write a speech for me? I'm standing here, I got to think of what to say. Everyone's got a speech. Everyone passes their test, and I'm standing here. So, a lot of the things I would have liked to say were already said, so I just won't go over that again. But I just want to say that I just want to show you how our life started and just about how it ended my wife's life. It started with a 5-cent Coca-Cola, with me sitting on a blanket in a resort. A friend of mine met Cynthia before I did, and they were talking, and they got along very nicely. Of course, everyone could get along very nicely with her. And so their talking got down to some personal things, and she said to him, Richie, he was one of my best friends. He's a year older than me, and he just turned 88 years old. So we've been friends a long time, and we know Cynthia all for a long time. And so she liked him. He was a nice guy. And he said, Cynthia, I want you to meet a friend of mine, a real good friend of mine. And she looked up at him and said, so what's wrong with you? Oh. He said, Cynthia, I'm going through a divorce. So she felt bad for him. And she said, how long were you married? He said, well, I wasn't married too long. It didn't work out, and I'm going through a divorce. So Cynthia, I'm not ready even to think about dating another girl, but I have a friend that I would like you to meet. Again, she said, all right, but what's wrong with you, So I was sitting on the steps of the bungalow with my friend because we went away for one of these $25 weekends in the Poconos. We had no money. So we went for a cheap weekend. We had to get away for a weekend. And I'm sitting on the steps, and down the stairs, down the street in front of the bungalow walks this girl. And when I heard some years ago that my friends got all married at a very early age and got divorced a year or two later, I said, no, it's not for me. I says, I'm going to hang in there until the right one comes along. How am I going to know the right one? I don't know. That's for God's got to tell me which one is the right one. The right one has got to be a Besherta for me. It's got to be my sweetheart. It's got to be my Zisula. It just can't be a girl that I meet. So I was sitting on this blanket, and this girl comes up to me with a bottle of Coca-Cola in her hand. And she looks at me and I says, oh my God, that's the girl that walked down there in front of my bungalow where I was sitting. And she sat down and she offered me the Coca-Cola. Cost her a nickel. She was looking to make an investment. If I was her, I'd buy American greeting stock, you know. I like my friends, so I give a little kibitz, you know. And I said, my God, that's the same girl that walked down. And so she sat down and we got to know each other. We went for a ride. We went for a ride on a lake in a little boat, a little paddle boat. And she was sweet as can be. And something hit me right in the chest, and I knew that. I waited. I was 28 years old at that time. I didn't get married at 21 or 2, and I could have. After all, I was a swinger too, you know. And I just looked at her, and I said, this is a special girl. So the weekend was over. I went back to the Bronx. She went back to Brooklyn. And there's a code among fellas from the Bronx back there in 1960. You don't date Brooklyn girls. They're too far away. You got to take subway trains and buses. No, you don't date Brooklyn girls. But this was different. So Cynthia went back to her home, to her family, a beautiful family. My family was a very small family. I only had a couple of uncles and aunts who came over from after World War I. They married here in America, but they didn't have large families. But Kanai Cynthia's family, there were got to be 15 uncles and aunts, which will produce almost 100 children. She had cousins galore. And she said to her, so her sister said to her, this is what Cynthia told me. Her sister said to her, how was your weekend? And she said, Dorothy, he's all over Sholem now, passed away, but she said, Dorothy, I had such a nice time this weekend. Really? She says, yeah, Dorothy, I met a fella. And you know what? I'm going to marry him. That was in June of 1960. If he only would call me up, because he lives in the Bronx, you know. But I couldn't have stopped calling that girl. I called her up. And so that was the beginning of my time to meet my wife, my Besherta. And it ended just about a couple of days ago. It ended in a hospital room after she had an incident, not the first, the second incident of her illness. Second incident of her illness. And I was told that the last thing that a person loses is his sense of hearing. The last thing. So Al, sit with her in the room. He didn't have to tell me that, the doctor. Or even the rabbi, I don't know. I think it was the chaplain of the Boca Raton Regional Hospital. And talk to her. Because even though she can't talk to you, she'll hear you. I'm telling you, she'll hear you. And she'll know that you're there. And I spent all my time in that hospital. So I sat down And I just started talking, like I'm talking to you. When I got tired of talking, I started singing. I made up tunes. I'm good at that. I love to sing. Not in front of the crowd here, but I love to sing. And I sang to her. And my dear friends, where are my dear friends who take care of her, who take such good care of my wife? Where are they? They're special. They were with her 24 hours a day and night. And I can't tell you what they mean to me. Aldine and Pauline, and also Rhonda, when we were back in Cleveland last year, how good she was to Cynthia. Because Cynthia never gave anyone a problem. And I don't know how much hurt she had in her body, because she would never, ever, ever complain about anything. And you know, maybe it's not the best thing. Maybe you should give a little stuff once in a while, you know. Let somebody know how you feel. But never would she complain. And never would she ask anything for herself. And people talk about, oh, wow, he's such a good husband. Oh, my goodness, he does this for his wife. Wait a minute. She does more for me than I ever did for her. Because the story is that toward the end, I was doing the singing, and in the beginning, she invested a nickel in a bottle of soda. So all I have to say is I thank the Lord for giving me this beautiful girl. I have no brothers. I never had a sibling. And look at the family that came from a guy who never had a sibling. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And maybe next time, when we go to a wedding, write me a speech, you know? Thank you very much. Sweetheart, I'm going to love you till the day I die. You should know that. You should know that. Thank you so much. And nobody helped me down. I'm only 87, so let me walk. You know, let me walk. I'm all right. I once went to a horse track. I don't know.
All of us gathered here today saw firsthand what it means to have a beautiful marriage, what it means to be a husband and wife, what it means to raise a family, a loving family that carries on your traditions for all time. Whether it's in Scarsdale, Teaneck, Hollywood, or here in Cleveland, her legacy lives on in the grandchildren who are gathered here today, and the great-grandchildren who are here, and those no Chazal tell us, Yaakov Avinu lo meis. The Yaakov Avinu, Yaakov, Jacob, our forefather, did not pass away. But we know he passed on. And the explanation of the rabbis is a simple yet profound explanation. He lived on in his children. He lived on in his descendants. Cynthia will live on in all those who follow, all those who learn the lessons of her life. All of us should learn the lessons, the examples that she and Al set for the rest of us to emulate. And again, may her memory be a blessing. Yehi Zachra Baruch. In the month of Nisan, we do things a little differently, so we won't be saying the Kamale, but I will ask everyone to rise. We're going to say another parak of Tehillim. Shir Amalos, B'mamakim Krasicha Adonai, Adonai Shima B'Koli, Tien Et Necha Kashivos L'Kol Tachanunai, Im Avonos Tishmoya Adonai Miyamod, Kim Chas Licha Leman Tivorei, Kivisi Adonai, kivson nafshi, v'livero ocholti. Nafshi l'Adonai, mishomrim laboker, shomerim laboker. Yachel Yisrael al Adonai, kim Adonai yachesed b'rei be'imo fedus, v'hu yivdes Yisrael, yikol avonosav. You may be seated. This concludes as part of our service. The interment will take place in Zion Memorial Park. The family will be sitting Shiva this week at the Uvlin home, 2550 Deborah Drive in Beechwood. They'll be sitting today after the Levaya until 9 p.m., Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 12, 2 to 5, and 7 to 9. Anyone who wishes to make a contribution is suggested to either give it to the Michael J. Fox Foundation or to the Greenwood Synagogue. Thank you all for coming.